first of all, I think the bigger issue around CBS, they're still looking for a CEO.
Right. Aren't they looking for a CEO, or they're just trying to merge with Viacom?
They are earnestly looking for a CEO with the idea that, hey, if we're merging with Viacom, how would you do this? I think that's on the list.
But can I ask a question? What executive, any good executive, would take this job knowing full well that in the next 6 to 18 months there might be a not unreasonable chance that they will be out of work?
And that's why they're having a hard time finding people. I've heard that they're having challenges. You know, I think even without a merger hanging over it, it's still a tough call, right? It's a hard job to fill. The environment's going to be challenging going forward, and you got to have someone with a really forward look.
Why is the board of CBS just not saying, look, if we know we're going down this path eventually anyway, just do it?
So you know what? I think you're
a spade.
So I think you're hinting at the right thing. Joe Ionell is the acting CEO. There's a strong chance he gets made full. They announce some kind of a merger with Viacom in the next 3-4 months, and then they still have to figure out, fine, if that happens, who then runs the combined company, right? Bob Bakish, who runs Viacom, I know he's sort of a bright light in Cherry's eyes, and so she likes that he's been a loyal person. There's a good chance that he's that guy. So that's the big story around CBS. Okay. The second part of it is, how are their OTT numbers looking? Their CBS All
Access. And that's the number you'd look at for this afternoon.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, they want to hit 4 million subscribers by this year for CBS All Access, another 4 million for Showtime. You know, it's modest, but you know that's growth. That's the growth story for CBS. That's what we need.
For those playing at home, well, not Mr. Kernan. I was going to say, Kramer likes to say, if you're playing at home, for those home gamers. Mm-hmm. So 4 million and 4 million are the numbers to beat. Right. That's Showtime and CBS. The second media story we are following, T-Mobile CEO John Legere and Sprint Executive Chairman Marcelo Claure were on Capitol Hill yesterday. The two testified in front of the House Energy and Commerce Committee defending their company's proposed $26 billion merger.
The outcome of this merger will be a significant increase in supply in the form of 8 times the capacity that our network will make available. It will bring an 87% decline in the price per gig of data, and jobs will go up. So this is dramatically different.
Unfortunately, as you know, Sprint doesn't generate any cash flow. And if we got to build this network on our own, we need to spend between $20 to $25 billion. We're going to have to go to the banks, we're going to have to go to the bond markets, and we're going to have to borrow that money. In order for us to pay back the investment in 5G, unfortunately, Sprint is no longer going to be able to be the price leader. Prices will go up. And I'm going to reiterate one thing that we don't talk enough. 93% of the cash flow in this industry is being generated by AT&T and Verizon. That is exactly what as close to a monopoly or duopoly is in this country.
Okay, so here's the question. It's a political question for you. Yep. If you believe that the Trump administration and the regulatory regime right now cares about 5G, and you're reading about it constantly, even in the context of Huawei and everything else. We want to beat China.
We don't want to get them the advantage on that. Right.
Do you let this deal go through, irrespective of whatever you think it's going to do to competition? And where do you think the competitive set sort of mixes
I think the Trump administration wants it to go through. I think that's what they've been signaling. I think the FCC and the DOJ, they're the ones who are going to decide this, by the way. They haven't indicated in any way that they're concerned about this deal, despite for, years and years and years, the idea of only having 3 major carriers could be a concern for consumers. There has been pricing pressure on wireless bills, and so I actually think, I think consumers...
That's like one part of the CPI that goes down consistently.
Exactly. If anything, that's actually kind of hurt the economy. Right, exactly. So I think anyone who wants cell service already has it, so they're just fighting for share at this point. So I don't think it's an issue.
Okay. And our third and final media story of the morning, the future of television is cord-cutting the end of pay TV as we know it.
Oh my God, that's the biggest. That's it. That's the big question.
That's the big question. That's the story.
It's not the end of TV as we know it.
But do you think we're going to see a step change?
There is going to be
Tim Cook talks about a step change in cord-cutting this calendar year.
Apple has never really laid out a cogent media strategy from what I've ever seen. Yes, people are going more to streaming. Yes, people are paying less for television overall, but they're still paying for television. I think that's a big thing to look at. And I think, as these new entrants come into play, AT&T has a service coming out, Disney's going to have their service, people will just buy more of these streaming services.
I'm throwing one wild card in.
Okay,
because I mentioned Tim Cook and Apple. There's news that March 26th, they're going to announce a new media package that would include magazines, newspapers, and
video. They have some originals that they spent money on, then they're going to do what they call a channels thing, the way you have on Amazon Prime.
But the newspapers who they want to partner with, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, and others, and the Washington Post,
we call them
are fighting back because they don't want to share a 50-50 revenue split.
Well, it's a 50-50, but it's even the 50, they're not getting the full 50. They're sharing it amongst usage, right? So of the remaining 50% that's left, if a lot of people are reading journal articles or Times articles or Washington Post articles, they'll get the bulk of that.
Okay,
but
if you're a betting man, does the package work without those three?
I think it still works, but it's not as good, and I think those three don't really participate in any meaningful way.
Okay, Ed Lee,